Benvenuto. Welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark. Today we're going to make pomegranate sauce, or some people call it pomegranate molasses. Really, the difference between the two is how far you reduce it. This is a condiment that is used a lot in Mediterranean cuisine, but it's excellent on any kind of roasted vegetables, roast pork. Now, you can get this at the supermarket already made. It's very expensive, but even worse than that, it is kind of hard to get a hold of. So I thought we would make this condiment together. Wicked easy, only a couple steps to it. The longest part of it takes reducing it. So what we're going to need to make our pomegranate sauce or molasses is we need some 100% pure pomegranate sauce. Pomegranate juice, no added sugar or anything of that nature. Pomegranate juice is generally quite expensive, no matter what brand you buy. For this particular recipe, I don't know if I would spring for the extra for that one in the really fancy bottle. It looks like pom-poms. It's delicious, wonderful for drinking. We're going to reduce this quite a bit, so I always buy this particular brand. All right, so we're going to need 4 cups of that. So this is a 4-cup bottle. We need a half a cup of white sugar, and we need 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Now, you can use fresh squeezed. Fresh is always best. However, I didn't have a lemon, so I am using bottled lemon juice. I've made it both ways. I don't see a huge difference in it, but if you want to pick up a lemon and squeeze it, by all means. All right, believe it or not, that's really it. It's 3 ingredients. And this is one of those condiments that if you go to a restaurant and you have a meal and you walk away and you think, oh my God, that was absolutely delicious. How do I make that at home? Well, I think this is one of the secrets to it, because most of us don't use this. And it's really just a glaze that you use on at the end of the dish that really makes the difference. So with that being said, let's get cooking. Okay, the first thing we're going to need is a heavy bottom saucepan, all right? Like I said, could not be easier. We're going to take our juice and pour it in our pan. I've got the heat source on high because we're going to bring this to a boil. All right, then we got our half a cup of white sugar. That in, and our tablespoon of lemon. So now we want to bring this to a boil because of course one of the reasons is we want to get that sugar melted. So nothing fancy about this. We're just going to bring this to a boil, and then when it comes to a boil, we're going to reduce it to a simmer, and it's probably going to take, depending upon how far you want to reduce it, it's probably going to take 45 to 50 minutes to get to kind of a thick sauce. If you want to reduce it even further into a molasses, it's probably going to take maybe an hour and 15 minutes. So our goal here is we're going to reduce this 4 cups of pomegranate juice to roughly, a cup and a half, maybe a little bit more, and that'll give us a sauce. If you want molasses, you're going to reduce it to by probably down to a cup. All right, so that you don't have to sit here and watch water boil. We'll come back briefly when this boils so that you just see where it is, and then we'll put it down to a simmer and complete the process. All right, see you when it boils. All right, guys, so we've come to a nice we've come to a hard boil. I've stirred it a little bit, make sure our sugar is all nicely dissolved. So really then the only thing to do is we're going to turn this down to a simmer, and on this little hot plate, that's at low, slightly, maybe a little bit higher than low. Of course, that'll depend upon how your heat source works. All right, so here we go. So like I said, we're just going to let that reduce. Of course, remember, keep it uncovered, because when you're reducing something, liquid, the liquid is evaporating, and we're concentrating the flavors for our final product. So again, that's probably going to take a good 45 to 50 minutes to get it to where I want. So we'll come back. You don't really have to stand and watch it. You just want to, of course, make sure that it's not boiling. You can see we're just at about a simmer right now. That's a nice little tiny bubbles coming up to the surface. So that looks pretty good. So again, we're going to let this reduce by slightly more than half. All right, we'll see you when it's reduced. Okay, guys, we're at the 45-minute mark. You can see that has reduced. It's started to thicken. It's thickened quite a bit. It is going to thicken more as it cools. So this is reduced down to about a cup and a half, maybe just a little bit less. And that's where I want it for this particular usage. If you want to reduce it down even a little bit more, you might want to let it go another 10 minutes or so. But this is what I want. So at this point, you're going to, of course, shut off your heat source. All right, remove it off the heat. All right, now you want to let it cool for at least 30 minutes before you transfer it to a container. And I'm going to put it into a little mason jar. I'm not doing this as a canning process, but I just find that it really holds best in a glass jar. You could use a squeeze bottle, like ketchup bottle or whatever you want. But anyway, so we're going to let that cool for 30 minutes. Then we're going to transfer it into a airtight container. We're going to let that cool down and for another 30 minutes before we put it in the refrigerator. And it should last in the refrigerator 4 or 5 months. All right, when it's cooled down, we'll be back. Okay, we're back with our pomegranate sauce. As you can see, like I showed you when we last left you, that has reduced. You can notice how nice and shiny and glossy it is. It almost reminds me of cranberry sauce. But anyway, it's cooled down for a little over half an hour, so I'm going to transfer it. And it's got a nice thick syrup-like consistency. All right, so like I said, I'm not actually I'm not taking the process of canning this, but it won't be around that long. So, but in an airtight container, this will hold nicely in the refrigerator for 4 or 5 months. But if you make this, it's not going to be around that long, because you're going to find all kinds of uses for it once you taste it, I think, at least. All right, there you have it. Pomegranate sauce or molasses.